welcome to the October Sail Points races for the San Diego Argonauts. This is the ODOM races. We're going to have 3 races here. The wind's about 6 knots or so. Still a little bit on the early side in the morning. I don't think the wind is fully settled in. Got about 6 knots of wind coming right out of the west, so that start line you see between the 2 buoys is a fair start line. And we've got a few shifts coming from the left and the right, as is typical for San Diego. So I'm going to walk you through a stream of consciousness as the race progresses here. I am the yellow-hulled boat, number 81, with the red stripe on the jib that's right in the foreground. I have a miniature camera mounted on the top of my hat, and so wherever my head looks is what is the picture that you're going to see. So, with the race to start shortly, let me walk you through my stream of consciousness as this race progresses.
30 seconds.
There are about 30 seconds until the start of race number 1.
20 seconds.
My goal is to try to be at the pin end, that's the near end, with clear air,
10,
at speed,
9,
when the gun
8,
goes off.
7,
So you can see
6,
most of the boats
5,
want to be on starboard.
4, 3, 2,
They are
1.
back a little bit off the line, generally speaking. There was nobody that was pushing me at the pin. Wasn't trying to barge, so got off to a clean start. So I had a good start. I don't think I could ask for a better start than that in this race. I've got clear air. I could tack off to port anytime I desire to do so. I've got a reasonably good lift. I've got reasonably good air. I'm staying up with the competition that's down to leeward of me. So right now I'm just trying to sail the boat fast. I'm reading the telltales on the jib to do that. I do want to be sailing on the lifts as I'm going up the pond, so unless I'm seeing a good size header, I think that's a pretty good heading right now. Most of the boats are staying over to the left side of the pond. There's a few that are working to the right, coming across on port. I've now tacked onto port. Didn't want to get too far on the other side. It's a little hard for me to see the telltales on the far side of the boat, or on the far side of the pond. The telltales on the boat, and boat speed is just all about playing those telltales, making sure that they're flying. So being able to see those is critical in my mind. So as we're working across the pond on port here, the wind looks like it's fairly consistent across the pond. I've got good boat speed, got good position. Again, I've got freedom of movement. I can tack off to starboard anytime I want to. We're going to be coming up into some shallow water here, as you can see. Of course, the ODOM's a fairly deep-keeled boat, and I'm going to get into a little bit of shallow water, and it's about as far as I can go. The wind will typically fill in from the right as we work up to the weather mark. That's what I've found to be generally the case. So I went all the way to the shore and tacked, and I think I'm going to make this mark. I pinched up just a touch right there, and then I'm rounding. So
You didn't hit the mark.
we've been kidding each other about hitting the marks in some of our practice, so I reiterated that that was a clean rounding for me.
No,
So I got off to a good start. That's the key part. It had good boat speed, sailed on the lifts, kept out of the traffic, and wound up in good shape at the weather mark. So that was my goal. My goal is to be in good position at the weather mark. If you can do that, then I think the rest of the race will take care of itself. That if you can do that, you have the skills that are going to get you. They're going to get you in good stead at the end of the race. You'll finish well. Okay, well, I've kind of popped out to a nice lead here. We've got a flock of boats that are behind me that are out of the screen. We're working downwind at this point, and my belief is, at least learning from these videos for myself, that it's all about that first weather leg. If you wind up in good position at the first weather mark, that's what the goal is. So again, good clear air start, add speed, keep your wind clear, sail on the lifts, things will turn out well as they did for me in this case. It doesn't always work that way, but I think generally that will be the case. So we're rounding a reach mark here. The race is going to progress. So right now we're going to break off from race number 1 here and go over and we'll take a look at the start of race number 2, our next race. Okay, about 20 seconds. 20 seconds until the start of race number 2. I think we've got pretty much the same wind. Might have filled in just a little bit. Boats maneuvering around for the start. Starboard tack approach being the standard, of course. I'm kind of holding back a little bit. I was trying to make sure that I wasn't barging or getting in a bad position with the boats down to leeward. So I kind of maneuvered the boat up and down a little bit to keep myself behind the other boats. So I had a clean air start. I wasn't exactly on the line at the start, but that was okay. And I got across the line and I saw that I was getting headed fairly well on starboard, so I thought it was time to get off on port. Came over to the shore here, and at this point I'm just trying to make sure I'm sailing on the lifted tack. I believe the port tack is the lifted tack right now, but I'm trying to stay away from the traffic, so I'm not sailing on the lifted tack I'd really like to be on, but I've got good air, I've got good boat heel, I've got clear air. Okay, that lift on starboard has come back in a little bit, so I'm looking a little bit better, but I'm going to have some trouble here when I go over to port. I'm going to have a little bit of traffic I need to be cautious about. Still in pretty good shape. Again, clear air being important.
See that ridge? We're straight up the pond on starboard. Straight up the pond on starboard.
Yeah, that starboard, I'm commenting to one of my sailing mates
now we want
that
it to go
the
away
starboard
so
tack lift is coming in even stronger, and I'm not sailing straight up the pond, but I've got it's a very good lift. At some point you got to bail out of that. You hope you get headed over there on the far side of the pond. You get headed, come across on port then with a lift there. Not a very good lift on port, but you got to get to the right at some time, so I'm paying the price right now. But again, I've got clean air, my boat speed looks pretty good, I'm in fairly good position compared to the rest of the pack.
We got a nice lift on starboard.
That's the offset mark just coming into the picture. There is the weather mark. So we're going to round. So I get to the ley line, we'll see if this red boat down below me is going to be able to make it. I'm pinching it up a little bit, he's pinching it up. Oops.
No sweat.
Now there's a good one for the rules. The rules corner to take a look at. He is allowed, that boat that was leer to me is allowed
now
to
look
come
at
up
that
head to
tail on
wind.
top. See
Not
where the
beyond,
wind is?
but
Get
up
the
to head
sail
to
set
wind.
because it's going to fill.
And I was pinching up also. I'm not quite sure. We'd have to go back and take a look at that, whether or not I possibly did foul him. Possibly
where's the wind
did not
coming
give
from?
him
Look
the
at your
renewal.
telltale. The wind's from behind your back.
So we've jibed around the offset mark. I have felt some wind on the back of my neck walking on the edge of the pond, so I thought it was time to jibe and try to get a little more to the left-hand side of the pond working downwind. Okay, so I'm in okay shape. I've got more boats behind me than in front of me, so that's a good start. I didn't have the best start. I wasn't quite on the line. There was a lot of traffic up there, but I did have clear air. I did see that I was headed when I started, so I tacked on to port, so I was on a lift at that point. And I just tried to stay on the lifts, but at some point you can't get all the way to shore, and you need to tack out. And so coming across on port, I was paying the price a little bit. That wasn't a very good. I just needed to get to the right, and that's the way the wind worked out. You know, sometimes it's going to work for you, and sometimes it's not. But I'm in reasonably good shape here, so now I just need to do a little fighting with these boats up in front of me. And
yellow boat's got inside room on the white boat.
Try to outsail them.
Yellow boat has inside room on the white boat. Thank you.
There we go. So I did manage to get inside room on the boat going downwind. So I'm in second place right now. So I'm clawing my way up. The boat in the lead's got a fairly good lead on me, and That'll take some doing, but we'll go after him. Try to again clear air, sail on the lifts. Sail fast. So this is why we're out practicing during the week, is make sure we've got all the boat speed that boat's going to give us. Okay, well, I think we'll break off at this point and head on to race number 3 for the day. Okay, so a little more than 30 seconds. That's a call for 30 seconds for the start of the third and last race. Again, that's a fair starting line. My goal is to try to be at the pin end with clear air and moving at speed when the bell goes off. Whoops. Careful about that maneuvering here. Oh, I'm going to be late. There's 7 seconds and I'm way off the line. Way off the line.
Starboard! Oh boy.
So I got distracted in that case by some boats as I was maneuvering around.
Almost clear.
And that cost me at least four seconds or so at the start. So you can see I'm back. Now the good news is I've got fairly clear air. I think the one boat up to weather of me is probably giving me a little bit of gas. But I've got good heel in the boat. I've got reasonably good boat speed. So I've got a late start. I'm going to be paying for that. I'm sure the whole weather leg here. So we just try to sail the boat fast and again sail it on the lifts. I've got good clean air now. Good wind. Boat's heeling over reasonably well. I'm just trying to sail the boat fast. To me, that means watching the telltales. Trying to ride that boat up if I can at any time when those puffs come in. We see a boat crossing on port. He's looking very good up in the lead there. That's what you can do if you're on the start line at speed when the bell goes off, as opposed to what I did, which was getting distracted and being late at the line. Not a good thing. So I'm liking the lift I'm on starboard. I'm almost on the other side of the pond. Again, I'm the boat with the red stripe. That's why that red stripe's there, is to help me pick my boat out, be able to see it. I'm probably straining my eyes to see the telltales on the boat, but that is the task at hand. Okay, I've tacked on to port. I have clear air, don't have any immediate traffic issues being on port. I only have a couple boats ahead of me. There's one crossing on starboard that's looking pretty good. He's tacked off, I don't have to worry about him. That lead boat has gone around the weather mark. He's in great shape. Now I'm approaching on port. I need to be careful about traffic. Just cleared that boat on starboard. And I've tacked to the ley line. Boat below me is pinched up a little bit. Is he going to make it? Yeah, he pinched up and he did make it, but he lost speed in doing that, so I was able to sail over the top of him. So while the lead boat's got a great lead, at least I'm in second place ahead of most of the pack here. But certainly a bunch of traffic behind me, which will present its challenges as we work downwind and they give me bad air. So I'm trying to keep my air clear, reaching up just a little bit. The mark's actually down the pond on the right hand side, so at some point I've got to jibe over and work back to the right. Right now, again, just trying to keep my air clear. The boats are just out of sight, out of view, but they're back there. I've jibed back to the right. My guess is that the wind has shifted from the right a little bit, so I was able to jibe over, start working back to the right, and still have clear air.
Hey! No outside help! Who did that?
I'm chiding,
Who did that?
Chiding some of the people on shore who informed the lead boat that he was going to the wrong mark. We're going to this offset mark, or excuse me, a reach mark here at the pond, and I think he was headed down to the leeward mark. So I was giving him a bad time about providing outside help. But of course, this is all in the good spirit of competition, so we're all having fun doing this.
Believe me.
Okay, well, I've worked out to a reasonable lead over the pack, and second place is looking better. I made a little bit of ground from number 82, having sail at least part way to the wrong mark. But he's off. He's got great boat speed, as is his usual. So my work is still very much cut out for me. So I'm in hot pursuit at this point. And I'm not sure. I'm not remembering exactly how this ends up. My guess is that 82 wins the race, but I come in with a second. So I'm happy with that. So this has been my review of the races for today. You can see some good things that happened to me. I can see a number of bad things that happened in this race. Clearly being distracted, not getting a good start because of traffic I was dealing with. You just got to try to keep that from happening. Stay out of the traffic. Get yourself set up for that good start. Sail on the lift's weather mark. You'll be in good shape. If you do that, you will be in good shape at the weather mark. And I believe if you are in good shape at the weather mark, the rest of the race is going to pretty much fall into place if you can do that first part. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at next month's Sail Point.